Getting fired is never a pleasant experience. It is important for you to know that in Japan, this is not a unilateral decision, it is a negotiation. You need to protect your interest and be aware of all available options to disengage from your employment in the best possible way. This is not just a legal fight, it is a psychological one. And since you're already overlorded, you need all the help you can get. It's overwhelmingly difficult to fire someone in Japan. We all know that. Unlike in the United States or in other countries, Japan is not an at-will jurisdiction. This means that employers cannot fire you without cause. Here there is a tremendous emphasis on an individual's career. Your job is not just a monthly paycheck. It is one's social status, their human network, and part of their lifelong career. When you get hired, you are joining a family, and the unstated goal is to make sacrifices to ensure the well-being of the company. People dedicate their lives to companies. They work a lot. And when the company decides, for profit motives, to X you out, generally the law here does not support that. Foreign firms frequently arrive in Japan with a foreign mindset. As long as business is flourishing, they hire people. And when times are tough, they lay people off. This accordion style of business is poorly viewed in Japan. The Japanese perspective is, look, we allowed you to come in and set up in our country, to sell your products or services, and to make a profit. That's okay. But there are certain obligations that you have. You cannot destroy people's careers and livelihood to guarantee bonuses for the main office back home. At least you have to meet the standards of a normal Japanese company. Here in Japan, lawyers love HR, but only because people hate HR more than they hate lawyers. HR delves into everything about you, where you live, your history, even your online and email habits. They're pros at psychologically manipulating you into accepting a bad deal and then stonewalling your every attempt to achieve a better outcome. I'm Timothy Langley. I graduated from a Japanese law school specializing in labor law. I was the first non-Japanese to ever work inside the Japanese parliament, and I've worked as general counsel for both Apple Computer and General Motors in Asia. As a consequence, I've worked on both sides, and I've been there. I know how HR thinks. I know exactly where to apply the right kind of pressure at the right time to get you a fair and equitable deal. There are only two legitimate reasons to legally lay off an employee in Japan. The first is that you are strikingly incompetent. But for the company, this is a very difficult thing to prove in a court of law. They interviewed you, you went through a probationary period, everyone thought you were great, and then all of a sudden, they say you're not meeting expectations. The onus is on them to identify why you are incompetent and, in fact, to help you overcome these deficiencies. The other legitimate reason that they could terminate you is that the company is bleeding money. But here too, they must demonstrate that that is in fact the case if they want to use that excuse. In Japan, employees' jobs are sacrosanct. For these specific reasons, in the vast majority of cases, companies will try to convince you to accept a voluntary resignation. Many companies, including Apple and General Motors, have hired me over the last 30 years to act as their mediator when they had to downsize their staff. In those instances, they were able to achieve a smooth transition for all of the employees involved. Unfortunately, not all companies see it that way. I have had tremendous experience in protecting individuals just like you from unethical and unlawful scare tactics. It is crucial for you to know that this is not a unilateral decision. Once again, this is a negotiation. For example, if you understand that they have already made a decision to reduce headcount, and that you are one of those people identified, then let's go ahead and accept that, move on with the voluntary resignation, and get you the best possible deal. You really don't want to get into a fist fight with your employer. They are at a great advantage and can simply outlast you. And in fact, they have a great psychological advantage, especially if you are unprotected. So typically, a reputable company will offer you a certain number of months for every year that you have served as a payout, plus a couple of extra months to ease you through the transition. This can be characterized as garden leave. Garden leave means that it seems for all practical outside appearances that you are still working. You still receive your salary while you take the time to look for a job. It's important not to be at any more of a disadvantage than you already are. This makes the recruiting process easier, especially if you happen to be a foreigner. You want to be able to legitimately say, well, the company was changing and I wanted to broaden my scope and do different things, so we came to an agreement and we parted on good terms. My job is to make sure that that is the reality. Now I know what you're thinking. If I fight against my company, I'll never get another job in Japan ever again. That is, in fact, not accurate. The company is legally forbidden from blackmarking you and saying bad things about you after you leave the company. Japan is a very structure-based society. If you have any questions about how to handle your particular situation, there's always a remedy that's fair and equitable. You just need to know what the rules of the road are. Visit our website, give us a call, come in for a consultation. We'll help you uphold your dignity and move on with your life.